What is up, xolemates? In this video, I'm going to be hopping into Ableton Live, making a chill, smooth beat, using only Ableton instruments and audio effects, so you can follow right along. Yeah, and before we hop into the video, could you do the thing? The YouTube thing. Hello, Ableton Live. You're looking beautiful, as always. So, we want to make a chill beat. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set the BPM to 105, because that's like a chill BPM, but it's also not too slow. And let's make that beat template. We're gonna right click, insert MIDI track. I'm gonna delete that. And right away, gotta get the colors right. So like, if the vibes are right, the song is gonna be right. The first thing that we're gonna add is chords. So we're gonna add chords right there. And probably the biggest thing in mixing is EQing, so keeping all of your frequencies even. So I'm gonna throw in this EQ8. And as you can see, it says drop instrument here. We don't have an instrument yet, but we don't need one. We're just gonna make the template. So the chords, I want the chords to be focused in the low mid to mid range. So I'm gonna be throwing in these two cuts and we're just gonna be focusing in this mid range. And then I'm gonna duplicate this instrument. I'm gonna rename it and call it melody. And then I'm gonna change the color because again, gotta get the vibes right. And we have the chords, okay? They're focused on this low mid range. Now we're gonna click on the melody. And we don't want the melody in the same area as the chords because again, we want this song to be even. So the melody is going to be focused on the highs. There we go. And I'm actually gonna duplicate the melody and then group it. So we're gonna have two melodies. We're gonna have melody left, and then we're gonna have melody right. And I'm gonna go ahead and pan these. One's gonna be 32 to the left, one is gonna be 32 to the right. And then I'm gonna rename this group, call it melody. And then we are going to duplicate the chords again, and I'm gonna call this bass. And we're gonna change the color because again, vibes. So we have chords and they're focused on this mid range. We have a melody, it's focused on the highs. So what do we think the bass is gonna be focused on?
Can you help us?
I'll give you some time.
Can you say?
The bass is gonna be the bass is going to be focused on the lows. There we go. So now these are going to be our four instruments and they are going to be even throughout frequencies. And then also the cool thing is that basses, you want to keep your basses mono. So I'm going to be throwing in a utility in my bass and then pressing this mono button. And that basically means we want this bass to be in the middle. All right, we've got the bass, and frequency-wise, it is gonna be focused in the lows. And then panning-wise, it is gonna be in the middle of your headphones. And then moving to our chords, frequency-wise, it's gonna be in this middle section. And then panning-wise, it's also gonna be kind of in the middle section, but a little bit more spread out. And then moving on to the melody, this is gonna be frequency-wise on the high section, and then panning wise, it's gonna be very spread out. So as you can see, one is gonna be 32 to the left, it's gonna be all the way over here. Then one is gonna be 32 to the right, all the way over here. So now we have the frequencies spread out, and then we also have the panning spread out. And that's just the instrument. So moving on to the drums, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to duplicate this bass and I'm gonna call it kick. The kick is gonna be kind of mixed the same way as the bass. We want it to be mono because the lows usually want to keep those in the middle. And then we're gonna duplicate the kick and we are gonna remove this mono because we want this sample, which is gonna be the snare or clap. We want this to be kind of spread out and we don't want it to be focused on the highs. We actually want to remove those frequencies, let the bass and the kick hold those lows. And our snare is gonna be like this. We might wanna boost the highs a little bit for the snare. And then we are going to duplicate it, call this hi-hat, and we want the hi-hat to be focused on the highs. And then we're gonna duplicate this again and call it perk for percussion. And that is gonna be the same thing as the hi-hat. We want that focused on the highs. So we're just gonna group this, call this drums. There we go. This is our template. Music is very subjective. So like, you know, maybe I want my perk to be focused on the lows. Maybe I want it to be focused in the mids. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna remove all of these audio effects. There we go. That is the template. Let's cook up this beat. I usually like to start my songs off with chords. If you've seen my video on how I make how I make songs from start to finish, then you would know that I like to start my songs off with chords. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag out 8 bars, and I'm gonna do Control Shift M, and that is gonna create a MIDI selection, and then we're gonna loop it. And once we get the chords down, then we can start adding the bass and the melodies and the drums, but the chords really set the vibe. So right now we've got the scale feature on. This is a really cool feature for Ableton 11. If you don't have the scale feature, then watch this video and it will be walking you through how to make your own scale feature. So let's select a key. Let's go with D major, and the progression I want to do is going to be a 1-4. A really popular progression is a 1-4-5. I want to do a 1-4. Let's switch it up. So basically what this means is that we want the root note, which is the 1, this D, and then we want the 4 in the scale, which is going to be this G. So D is the 1, E is the 2, then we got the 3, then we got the 4, then we got the 5, then we got the 6, then we got the 7, and then we go back to a 1 up on the top of the octave. So we want to do a 1 chord going into a 4 chord. Okay, we don't have an instrument yet. Let's throw in an instrument. So let's go to instruments. Let's go to instrument rack, and let's do a piano key. Again, we kind of want to go for a chill vibe, so let's give this a listen. There's the 1-4, so I'm gonna grab all of them, move them down. There we go. So let's turn these into chords now. Let's turn this D into a D major. There we go. Now let's turn this G into a G major. But that's kind of lame. It doesn't sound like a really talented pianist. A really talented pianist would kind of keep the chords in the same area. So they would do something like this. I think I like this better though. Yeah, I like that better. So let's go over here. Let's turn this growl down and the force down. Turn up the chorus. Sounds a lot better. There we go. Congratulations. You now have chords. This is going to be the base of this song. So let's duplicate this out. And before we do anything, let's structure out this song. So let's right click up here, add locator, call this verse 1, and then click right here, add locator, chorus 1. There we go. And we can actually rename these chords like that. Chorus, and then rename these verse. There we go. We got a song now. Before we move on to the melody, I think this key is a little bit too high, so I'm just going to be moving these down by pressing the arrow keys. Alright, time for a melody. So, let's do that. Let's create 2 MIDI selections. There we go. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. So, da, da. Let's throw in a... That sounds dope and swag. Now let's add the right melody. So let's hold down Option, which is basically duplicating that. And as you can see, we don't have an instrument over here. So we're going to turn off this left melody. We're going to be throwing in a right melody. Let's throw in a guitar. Let's throw in this palm guitar. There it is. Super simple, kind of call and response melody. We've got the left, let's go ahead and throw in this EQ for this chord instrument. I like where it is. So the chord is already in this midsection that we wanted it to be. Now, let's throw in the EQs that we had for the melody instruments because we want these to be on the highs. So we have the chords in the middle, now we have the melodies on the highs. There we go, I love it. Let's throw in some reverb, audio effects, reverb. Let's throw in a ballad reverb. So this melody right here, I think it's a little bit too high. It's a little bit too bright. So we're gonna lower some of the highs. There we go. I love it. Next up is the bass. And the way I make my basses is I just duplicate the chords and I drag them down. Let's go to bass. I love my basic electric drive. It's like a live sounding bass. As we know, the bass is going to be focused on the lows. So octave wise, we want to move these chords down. And then also we want the bass to be following the root note. So the root note of this chord is a G. And then the root note of the second chord, you might think it's an E, but remember we move these two notes down. The root note of this chord is a C. So we're going to be pressing 0, which is deactivating these notes. And I want this to be going down, like that. There we go. Now let's throw in this utility. Keep it mono. As you can tell, the bass is kind of wide. And then once we throw in this utility, it's going to be slapping it right in the middle. And then we want to take off some of these extra highs. There we go. And let's now lower it and bring it into the mix. All right, we have a solid beat. Now, how do we add the drums? So there are so many free drum samples for you to get online. So I would definitely look up just like free drum kit, or if you like indie, type in free indie kit. If you like trap, free trap kit. And I'm going to be using samples from my website, from my store. Again, you do not have to buy these sample packs. You can just get free ones. Also, just a quick plug while we're here. If you want me to mix and master a song of yours, then check it out on my store. I just put up mixing, mastering, and songwriting. So if you want me to mix and master a song of yours, mix the beat, mix your vocals, make it sound really professional, ready for any streaming service, the link is in the description. Let's throw in a kick first because we definitely want a kick. Let's go to my xole drum kit volume 1. Right off the bat, all right, we're getting the spinning wheel of death. This is not chill. There we go. Right off the bat, I like this angry kick. Okay, so this is a... Love it. We definitely want this kick and a snare going in this chorus section. But in this verse section, I think right here, I want to add a shaker. So I'm going to insert an audio track, and I'm going to throw in a shaker loop. All right, there we go. I threw in 2 different shaker samples from my pack. I threw in the chapel shake and the cloud loop. And just like we did with the melodies over here, where we had one on the left and one on the right, I'm doing the same with the shaker. One is slightly to the left, one is slightly to the right. So if we solo these together. And I also threw in some short ambience reverb. So I think I want to duplicate this out like that. I think like a kind of like a lo-fi snare would work well in this chorus section. I like that. I like that a lot. And let's turn it down a little bit and then let's duplicate it and let's throw in another sample. I think I want to throw in a clap on top of that. So layering your snares and your claps, it just makes them sound a lot more unique and vibey, you know? So you should try that out. Let's throw on this hard hat. And what I want to do is I want to copy this, paste it right here, and then I want to make the second one a little bit quieter than the first one. And that's just going to give these hi-hats some more groove. I would definitely change the velocity and the volume of your hi-hats, make them sound a little bit more lively. And let's give it a listen to this. All right, I just threw in another hi-hat, and it is my pitch hat. And I'm throwing in some reverb on that, and then also some reverb on this hard hat. All right, for the kick, again, we want to kind of mix it the same way as the bass. So let's paste this in. There we go, that sounds good. Keep it mono, keep it in the middle. So this first clap, which is more like a snare. Yep. I like the EQ on that. And then let's throw in this quick clap. And again, this quick clap is kind of just adding some highs on top of this snare. So let's go ahead and throw in this EQ and take out those mids. We don't need them. There we go. That sounds a lot better. The EQ that we had for the hi-hat, we wanted to focus it on the highs. And that's usually what I like to do with hi-hats. But again, music is subjective. It changes a bunch. So for this hi-hat, I actually don't want those highs. I would kind of want to cut them out. I think that sounds better. There we go. We have a full song. Xolemates, I hope this video helped you out. I hope you learned something. Again, go check out mixing and mastering on my store. And if you want to write a song with me, I'm looking forward to it. So check those out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you could like this video, it seriously helps out a bunch. Keep making music. Let's give a listen to this song. Have a beautiful day.
I'm young, making lights of dumb decisions. We live it, decisions. We run it, lava, lava. Make it up, life. We live it up tonight. We make it up, life.